Tom, the other day while giving the brief to the Tea Party on the Ground Zero Mosque, a great American hero and father of a great American hero, David Beamer, walked in and actually spoke to us after the briefing.
Every single time I've heard him, I either get tears or chills or both. He's such a significant voice. He needs to be heard by every American. How do you do?
Well, he knocked it out of the ballpark, but if you think we should take a look for ourselves.
Well, let's go do that.
Randy, bless his heart, I got an email from him. I just came back to Jacksonville today. I got off the plane, there was an email saying, hey, we're doing this tonight. And I thought, wow, I can show for that. Because I always learn something when I hear Randy, see Mark, and what's going on. I always learn something. So I'm glad I came. As you might gather, I'm a little energized about the reality of where we are and what's going on. I just came back to Florida because Peggy and I, my wife, we were up in New Jersey with 7 grandkids and everybody. 4 of those grandchildren had their mom and dad. 3 of them just had their mom. Everybody's fine. We had a good time, but we really miss Todd. As his kids are growing and playing basketball, my knees still hurt because I'm playing basketball with David and Drew, 12 and 10. Wish Todd were around, you know. What's going on in our country is unbelievable. Cannot be fathomed, hardly. And most of our fellow Americans are asleep still. Yeah. Because what the Muslims and Islam really is, we have a real hard time comprehending it. Our Judeo-Christian foundation and ethic of freedom of religion, or not. You know, there are Christians here. I don't know if there's any Jews here. I don't know if there are any Muslims here. I don't know if there's any atheists here. But freedom of religion is something that's one of our tenets. And as we're all learning, Islam, it's my way or something worse than the highway. Really. And so much of this conversation now about, are you kidding me? A mosque at ground zero? Who could have dreamed that up? And what's the defense? Freedom of religion. Well, guess what? It's a different kind. It doesn't mesh. It's in complete conflict. If we want to preserve our freedom of religion, we can't turn our country over to those who are diametrically opposed to that, which is what Islam is, period. Why do you suppose right now they've decided, let's go for the gold, baby. Let's do the mosque at ground zero now. What better time to do that? I don't know if Obama's a Muslim or not, but he sure is a Muslim sympathizer. He has that track record to prove it. So do you think there's a correlation as to why they think, let's do it now? And good people, if this were to happen, what's next? Well, what's next is whatever's on their agenda. And they've got leadership that spends their life and their falsehoods of belief figuring out what's next. And they've been at it here for decades, and we've all been asleep. I look at my newest grandchild. His name is Josiah Todd Sorensen. He's 13 weeks old. And I said to him, JT, man, I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna get. Randy said, we don't hear very many Islamists condemning the acts of terrorism. I believe, in fact, that terrorism is just one of the tactics that they use in pursuit of the overall objective, which is domination of only planet Earth. And I sure believe that this mosque, if it happens, will be a memorial to the grand martyrs that accomplished their mission beyond their wildest dreams, I believe. I don't think they really thought the trade centers were going to come all the way down. That will be a monument to celebrate and to remember who? Remember for sure the 15 that completed their mission. I don't know about the 4 guys that failed in Pennsylvania. That's what it is. The museum and memorial plant in New York is nearly 13 stories tall. This edifice will be a memorial to the glory of what, not what terrorists did that day, what good Muslims did that day. They gave it their all. If it were to happen to me, it would represent a 13-story middle finger to all of us, is what it is. And so what do we now have on Friday night? When our Commander-in-Chief having a party in the White House to celebrate what? National Day of Prayer?
Nope.
No. Come on. And so he expresses what he really believes and then deals with the backlash and bobs and weaves. And unfortunately, frankly, I didn't hear so many politicians on either side taking positions until they saw the kind of heat that he took. Where was everybody a month ago? We need to wake up. We're under attack. Terrorism is a tactic. We got a war on terror. Infiltration. Schools, commerce, government, all levels, city councils on human rights. Infiltration is just another tactic. We need a war on infiltration. What's a good Muslim? A good Muslim is one who is a believer in the Quran and Sharia law and their objectives. So you can't be a really good Muslim in a good America. You can be a lukewarm Muslim. You can be a Muslim in name only, like lots of Christians, I suppose. But you can't be a good Muslim in a good American. Do you remember 9/11 and the immediate aftermath when our enemies, the Muslims, were celebrating and dancing in the streets? Hallelujah! We haven't seen it in the media, but I'll bet you Friday night, after our president endorsed the idea, I'll bet our enemies were dancing in the streets. That in and of itself ought to make the case as to why this must not happen. How can this guy, the commander, and by the way, the mayor of the big city, Mr. Bloomberg, the same time that we've got young men and women in harm's way, losing their limbs, shedding their blood, losing their lives, dealing with the enemy over there, we turn around and give the keys of the city to the enemy right here. How stupid we are. How the Islamic leaders must be saying to themselves, this is like shooting fish in a barrel. We gotta fix it. Don't have much time left. And for a myriad of reasons. November the 2nd is the next one. That's a big, big battle day. America better win. Great to be with you.
Thank you. I want to read you something here from the father of someone who died on September 11th. The young man that died, his name is Todd Beamer. Todd Beamer was the hero of United Airlines Flight 93. Todd Beamer and other brave Americans on that plane took that plane down before they could do what they wanted to do. Todd Beamer yelled, "Let's roll! Let's roll!" This is from Todd Beamer's dad, David Beamer, who's in Florida and couldn't be here with us today, but he's here with us in spirit. And he's a wonderful American. He says, "I remember our Islamic enemies on 9/11 celebrating and dancing in the streets. While we have brave men and women giving their limbs, blood, and very lives battling our enemy. We have a mayor giving them the keys to the city. And we have a president who grovels to make Muslims feel good. These egregious, un-American acts give cause for our enemies to dance in the streets yet again. Actions have consequences, Mr. Mayor and Mr. President. How do you feel about what you have wrought?"
November 2nd.
November 2nd is right.